Hey, it's Jonny, and in this video, I want to talk about and address an issue that is probably the most requested topic, probably the most commonly asked theme of questions that we get through like DMs, email responses, inquiries from clients and things like that. It's all around software, right? What is the best software to use as an online personal trainer? What software do we use in Propanefitness? What's a good idea? What's a bad idea? What should I be spending money on? What should I not be spending money on? So in this video, I'm going to break down what we use and what we recommend. And it probably is not going to be the answer that you want to hear. And I'll cover why that is. So when we look at software, right, the reason I think why this has been such a, like the number of requests for information on this have gone up over the years, over the past year or so, is because the number of options for software for personal trainers online has gone up exponentially in, I don't know, the last year and a half, let's say. Like the number of options there are, it feels endless, right? Obviously it isn't really endless, but it feels like the options that you have and the apps you have to weigh up and the various ways you can manage clients and the various bits of software that you can use, you almost feel like if you make the wrong decision, it's your fault, right? You almost feel like there's so much choice that if you use the wrong software, it can only be you to blame. So the way we look at software, the way we make a decision on, is that worth spending money on or not, is firstly, is that going to help me like generate or protect revenue in the business? Is that doing something that I can't really do myself manually, or I shouldn't really be doing myself manually? Or is it kind of removing a step that I would otherwise, if it would otherwise cause me a lot of frustration and ball ache? Or more importantly, is it addressing the bottleneck in the business, right? Is that solving the problem that I'm currently facing? And this is where I think a lot of coaches get swept away with the excitement of getting an app, building a website, having anything really, frankly, that isn't just focusing on the core fundamentals, which is, getting clients and serving clients. It's easy to get excited and distracted by the things that are, I suppose, easier to control. Like everybody can get some software and you can set it up so that it's perfect. Everybody can build a website and set it up so that it looks amazing. Everybody can build a recipe book and perfect it and have your logo in the right place and everything the right colors. All right. What's hard and what you can't necessarily as easily control is getting clients to work with you, right? Building your revenue in your business. That creates uncertainty, it creates panic. And also it's not something that you can necessarily just sit down at the start of the day and do for 5 hours and then feel like you've made progress. It's more than possible that you sit down for 5 hours and do loads of stuff and you get nothing from it. So when we are looking at decisions in the business, or when we are looking at what to focus on, I think of things as 3 chunks really. So we have traffic, we have conversion, and then we have delivery. All right. 3 random shapes just to make this easier to explain. So traffic might be anything from sort of like, that looks like a bum. Traffic might be anything from, social media. In fact, you know what? Split it into simpler terms. It's usually, so if this is traffic, it's usually organic or free, right? Or it's paid, okay? This is conversions. By that, I mean converting a click into a customer, right? Or converting a visitor to your website or someone who interacts with you into a lead, into a customer, right? That is usually some kind of software. There's usually something going on there, but it's also your sales process, right? It's your sales funnel. So this is sales funnel. In other words, how do we take someone who kind of doesn't know who we are? If you imagine it as looking like, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to draw it manually. If we look at it like this, right? Over here, we have kind of people who are visitors, don't know who we are. And then down here, we have customers / clients, right? So we have people coming from the traffic side of this spectrum, all the way through into leads, all the way through into customers and clients. And then once they become a customer and a client, it's about our coaching and delivery, right? And this is probably, when people think of software, most people are thinking about the coaching side of the equation, right? They're thinking about apps that allow them to do their programming the way they want. They're thinking about apps that allow them to communicate and chat with their clients and things like that. What I'm going to present to you now is firstly, like the hierarchy of importance of what you should be focusing on first. And then secondly, the way you can have all of this functioning at a basic level without spending anything on software. And actually, this is sort of the software stack that we use that allows us to make this work, and really what we started with when we started Propanefitness. So where most people put their attention and energy on when they start an online fitness business is this section here and this section here, okay? They think that what they need is loads of traffic on social media, right? And a big audience on social media, big YouTube following. They need to improve their Instagram game, right? Or they think they need, or probably, and they think they need a really well perfected sort of app or way of delivering the coaching. And oftentimes the other things that people do as well that kind of come off this and this is people will have like a website that they perfect, right? They might perfect their link tree in their Instagram. They might have a really fancy lead magnet or a recipe book, that sort of thing. So they kind of link to both of those. They're not necessarily, having a website is not necessarily part of the puzzle in each of these equations. It's usually the reason why someone might make a website is they usually think, well, if I build a website and I put it on Google and I have loads of content, then I'll get traffic, right? Then I'll get visitors. Playing that game's pretty difficult these days. But the point I'm trying to make to you here is without this piece of the puzzle, right? Without your conversions, nothing else matters, right? It doesn't matter if you've got all of the traffic in the world or the best coaching system in the world. If you cannot convert attention, clicks, traffic, visitors into people who pay you, it doesn't matter how good your social media is. It doesn't matter how good your coaching app is. Everything else is irrelevant. All right. So that's why when we start working with someone, the thing we focus on is the conversion process, is the sales funnel, because that then allows everything else to be built around it. Okay. So you've probably already seen, if you're watching this YouTube channel, we don't exactly have very many followers, right? I'm guessing you're probably on our email list. You're probably aware of us in some way. You'll probably have seen that we use a 14-day challenge model for conversion, right? So the thing that we have that sits in the center of the business and what we teach is this 14-day challenge. And that's the first thing that we help someone build when they become a client with us, and we help them building their online business, all right? So we have a process that we've tested so many times now that is a sequence, a drip of content that we know that when we put a lead through, for every 100 leads we get, roughly speaking, we are assuming things are sort of messaged correctly and directed at a certain audience and presented in a certain way. And we don't just teach, we weave it in so it's a sales process that's also valuable, right? We usually get between 3 and 5 clients, or 3 to 5% conversion with cold traffic. All right. So if I turn an ad on and I get 100 people join the process, I know, roughly speaking, on average, over time, it fluctuates seasonally, etc. Lots of different things can happen that can affect the performance. But generally speaking, 3 to 5 clients who are buying something, usually that is group-based, between £300 and £600. Okay, so it's not super, super high ticket. There's no sales calls. There's no complexity like that. There is a single sequence that is 14 days long that presents you, presents your offer, presents who you are and how you can help someone, and then allows someone to buy your program at the end of it as kind of the next logical step. All right, so that's the thing that then makes everything else work. So once you have this kind of in the center of the business, all right, so this is the 14-day sequence. All right, what we use to deliver that, the only stuff we use to deliver that and build that and create that is to get people in. We'll often use a Google form plus MailChimp. All right, that's it. So obviously we're using, to fill those, we're using social media. But in the first round of it, we aren't using advertising. Okay. We want to test this for free. So if we get, for example, 100 people opt in to this process, we haven't spent a penny on doing that. All right. To deliver this, we use a Facebook group and we use MailChimp. All right. Now, when someone becomes a client, again, we use Google Drive. We use some MailChimp and software. And we use a Facebook group. And this is kind of what I call the tech stack 1.0. All right. Now, the reason why this is done like this, the reason why this is all free, the reason why none of these bits of software are very advanced or very complicated is because the software that you have and the tools that you use to make this work, they are not the thing that makes it work or makes it not work. All right. If you are not at the point where your online business is consistently turning leads into clients. So if you can't tell me over the past 7 days, I've had this many leads opt in and I've converted this many clients, then no software is going to save you from that situation. All right. The reason why this is all free, the reason why when someone starts working with us, we keep using free software is because we are managing the risk, right? Which is something that no one ever really talks about. We are managing the risk that you sit for 6 months, spend all this money on all these bits of software that then you end up having no clients and customers for. All right. I cannot tell you how many people I speak to who have all the fancy stuff. They have all the bells and whistles. They have the latest software. They have the top package of some of these PT apps, but they have like 2 or 3 clients. All right. And the client, I can almost guarantee you, does not care that you have a fancy app with your logo on. Right. That's not why they signed up for you. If they did, frankly, they would be downloading. If what they cared about was the app, they'd be downloading one of these fitness apps that's had millions and millions of pounds invested by angel investors and has a developer team behind it. Right? They are not investing in you as a coach because you're using a piece of software that allows you to put your logo on it. They're not investing in you as a coach because you're using Aweber instead of MailChimp. They're not investing in you as a coach because you use a certain landing page software or a certain website design tool like Wix or something like that, Squarespace, right? Those are not the differentiating factors. And that's why at this stage, we view this as like, what's the minimally viable version of this that we can use to test this process, to test that works. Because once that works, you're in a position where you can start to figure out and add bits of software in intelligently. All right. So let's say you're at the point where this is converting at 5%. Okay. You start to run ads. So you might start looking at ads on Facebook and Instagram. You might start looking at YouTube and Google. Okay. Forgive my handwriting, but you're just trying to fill this. Okay. So you might look at it and say, right, well, now that I'm running ads to this, what's the new bottleneck, right? I know that I can convert customers. What's the new bottleneck? Maybe the bottleneck immediately is, well, it's traffic, right? So maybe you invest in some software that helps you run ads. Maybe you invest in some organic social media software to help you schedule your organic social media and improve your organic social media, right? Because the thing that's preventing your business from growing at this point is still not the client delivery system. It's still not your email software. All right. Maybe it's stuff to help you run this, right? What we typically look to do once we've got it working is we'll look to automate and evergreen it. Okay. So at that point, we might use and suggest something like some landing page software. Okay. Rather than hosting things in a group, maybe set things up in ClickFunnels and you have kind of a sequence of pages that people visit that have a Facebook plugin on the bottom of them. Then that's how people engage with the challenge, right? And when someone opts in, they get sent an email every day rather than being in a group. And maybe over time, to improve the conversion of this, you start looking at something like ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft or Drip or something like that, GetResponse, to improve the tagging sequences and the things you can use in that. All right. But at this point, right, all we're trying to do here, the reason we're even considering these bits of software is we are looking at what is the thing that's preventing me from moving forward here. All right. If I can look at my business at a high level as a map, and I can imagine watching things happening, where is the part that needs the most attention from me? All right. If I'm getting traffic, right, okay, I'm getting this many clicks a day because my ads are working, brilliant. Right. I know my challenge is still converting it, but it's actually now it's the conversion because I'm running loads of people into this. It's converting slightly less well. So how can I bump the conversion up? What software can I use to fix that? I mean, obviously I'm not going to go into exactly how we run a group-based model, group-based coaching. That's a topic for another day. But when your delivery starts to become the bottleneck, in other words, when you start to get to the point where clients are coming in and you're starting to feel like your service is dropping, you're starting to feel like actually my marketing, my traffic, my sales system, that's working now. The thing that's going to stop me from really building this business, it's going to be the coaching delivery systems, right? It's going to be my ability to actually serve these people. Now I'm going to start looking into some of the more advanced stuff. And frankly, even still, like even when dealing with hundreds of clients, we've never used a PT app in Propanefitness, right? We still use Google Drive. We use some more advanced stuff as well, but you can do all of it with Google Drive or with Excel, right? Getting to really understand how a spreadsheet works, you can do everything that you could possibly need, right? And it drops the complexity for your clients, right? If I have to log in and interact with you in a certain way and you are operating within the infrastructure of an app, you are always confined by that infrastructure. You're always confined by what the app will and won't allow you to do. You're always having to pay a monthly fee to use the app. If you just figure out how to really use Google Sheets, for example, right? It can be updated live. Your clients can access it from anywhere. It syncs with them immediately. And with the formulas available on something like Google Drive and Google Sheets, you'd never need anything else. Trust me. So that's how we approach this, right? That's how we approach software. It's not what's a laundry list of things that you guys might need, because that's not the way to approach this, right? It's nice and it's exciting and it's stuff that you can sit down and do and feel like you're making loads of progress. Like if you build your website, it feels really productive, right? But once you've got to the end of it, like, can you actually point to what happened in your business as a result of that? Creating a website is something that a lot of people think is really important. And when they inquire with us, they often have a website or they've started building a website and they've not really seen any results from it. They're a bit confused as to why. One of the reasons why is, like, if we have a website, so I'll explain how a website or our website fits into this sequence, right? So if this is pf.com, propanefitness.com, we're at the point now, because we have like 400, 500 articles on there, that we do get some organic traffic through Google. Okay, there are some articles that we wrote a long time ago that just happened to hit. It was a search term that was popular at the time. And we get some people opting in using our calculator and things like that. And they will come through to our sales sequence as a result of that. But trying to rely on that from day zero when you have no content on your website and it's a series of pages on the internet, you just aren't going to get the traffic. Okay, bear in mind, if we need 100 leads in here to get 5 clients and you're relying on your website that maybe converts at 1%, for example, think how many visitors you need to get to that website constantly, new people constantly, to make the economics of that work. It's just not going to happen. All right. So the way I view a website in this, and the reason why it's way down the list of priorities and something we don't even cover until several months into the Propane Business Program and course we teach, is because it's like a virtual shop window or a virtual business card. Okay. So we're relying on paid advertising mainly to fill the funnel that we have. And the only reason we can do that is because we've tested it for free first. We know that it works. Right. And then we can say, I know that if I get 100 leads, I get 5 clients. So it makes sense for me to go out and buy those 100 leads from social media, right? Rather than spending hours and hours and hours creating content, trying to get the same number of people in. So we're not relying on the website for that. But what we found people do really frequently is they'll be going through here and they'll be thinking about working with us. And they'll think, you know what? I wonder what happens when I Google these guys, right? And they Google us and they find Propane Fitness. Okay. Or you guys, maybe you listen to our business podcast or you've opted in for one of our business ads and now you're looking for our YouTube channel, right? And we're here because these are the other things that matter. So like our organic Instagram or organic YouTube, our podcast, and just our website in general, we see it as basically like social proof. Like, hey, by the way, I promise we're real. Okay. We exist. This is who we are. This is some people we work with. Here's some content we've written for free if you'd like to check it out. Right, here's our free macro calculator if you'd like to use that as well. All right, we found it helps convert the process, right? The reason we have one, the reason it works, the reason we put money into getting it developed to the way that it is because we have found it increases the conversion of this, right? So that's how we think about software. Now, I said at the beginning of this, I'm probably not going to give you guys the answer you want. And so many of these videos are people giving their lists of like, well, Wufoo's better than Typeform and MailChimp's better than Aweber and all this sort of stuff. You've got to remember that firstly, a lot of those people are also going to promote an affiliate link in the bottom of the video. Secondly, the way those people are presenting, like it's generic, it's general information. You may listen to that and think the reason that you're not getting the results that you want is because you're using MailChimp instead of Aweber, for example, right? It's not. The reason that you haven't got the client load you want is not because you're using Trainerize instead of PT Distinction or any combination like that. It's usually because you don't have something that consistently converts, so consistently gets leads that are relevant to you, that you can actually help, and then consistently converts a percentage of those leads into customers. When you have that, you suddenly start to, like, the clouds part, and you suddenly start to see the clarity. You're like, all right, now I can kind of appraise these bits of software for their benefits. Right now, when someone says, well, have you thought about this social media scheduling platform? You're like, well, would that help my business? Would that help this, this, and this? Would that help traffic, conversions, or delivery? If yes, then you know where it fits in. And then if someone says, oh, it's $50, $70, $100, $200, $300 a month. You're like, well, that's a lot, but it makes sense because I know exactly why I'm getting it. I know exactly why I'm looking for it. So that is how we look at software. Hopefully that helps, guys. If you're not in this position, if you don't even know where to begin with this stuff, there's a video below this video. There's a way to get some formal training from us completely for free still, where I talk about this system. Right, the model that we use, the challenge system that we use, how it knits together. I go into a bit more detail about how we get it to work, what you say in the challenge, and all that sort of stuff. And then if you want proper help from us and you want to join our Propane Business program, there's a chance to do that in there as well. It's an application process. You book a quick chat with me. We'll see if we can help you. We'll figure out some more about your business, see what the next logical step is. But I hope this has given you some insight into this stuff that maybe you've never considered it this way before. So before you jump into spending another £100, £200 a month on software, consider why you're doing it. Consider what it is you're actually trying to change in your business. Which needle are you trying to move? Trying to get more traffic? Trying to improve your conversions? Trying to systematize and streamline your delivery? Because if you can't really say that, then probably what you're doing, frankly, is doing something that feels like you're making progress when you actually aren't, right? It probably feels like if I sit down and set this app up, if I sit down and set this software up, I'm probably improving something. But if you don't know why you're doing it, it's probably actually a source of procrastination. And that's something we see so often with these bits of software is it's exciting and it's branded well and it's branded as the solution, when often like the solution is sadly like sitting down and really thinking about your marketing strategy, sitting down and really coming up with something a bit different, a bit unique, sitting down and really perfecting your sales process, which isn't easy and it can't always be done in an afternoon and having a box tick. You can't always show it to someone as this bright, shiny new thing that you've built, right? But it is the thing that is the difference between coaches who have clients and coaches who don't. All right, guys, hopefully that helps. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you've got any questions. Grab that training at the link below if you want to hear more about this.